omens. Give me sight beyond sight.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sur and the Kodan Armada. Get ready. Prepare for blast-off.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
This is 80s Reboot Overdrive Podcast.
We were dancing just like Swayze when Jennifer Grey had nose. Oh, how I miss the 80s, but I'm too young to really know. Too young to know.
Oh my god. That is like so dated.
Welcome back, everybody, to 80s Reboot Overdrive. We are doing another collaboration podcast with a bunch of other people, and this month of March, we are talking about 80s villains. With me tonight is Rose.
Hi, everybody.
And Dave is absent again.
Yeah.
He'll be back, though. He's just been a little preoccupied lately, so we will be back with the Overlord very shortly. Anyway, the collaboration, or all the other people that are involved with this, we've had. I think this is our third. Is this our third or fourth month, Rose? Do you know
I think
that we've
it's
done
fourth
this?
because we did one for Christmas. Remember?
That
was
right.
our first one.
That's
Yeah.
right. And then we did the Crushes, and then there was another one that I can't remember.
80s Innovations.
Innovations, yes. So this is the fourth one. Yep.
Yeah.
So the team, also known as the 80s League, we are a bunch of different 80s, we just love the 80s, all a bunch of 80s geeks that just love to talk about it and write about it, and there's podcasts and blogs. I'm going to go through the list of everybody that's involved. We got rediscoverthe80s.com with we have, and they're at RD80s on Twitter. And then we have ouijamidget.wordpress.com, and that's at realouijamidge on Twitter. And then we have killerkitsch at wordpress.com, and on Twitter that's killer_kitsch. And Return to the 80s returntothe80s.wordpress.com, and that on Twitter is Return to the 80 at Return to the 80s. I just should have. Maybe I should have a drink. Maybe I should just tone it down.
You should be staring right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got a funny joke about that later. We
Okay.
won't tell it on the air, but I have to tell somebody. It's just hysterical.
All right. A few more people here. We got Southgate Media Group, of course, with us, 80s Reboot blog, and Rose, our own Rose, is on Twitter at 80s Music Girl, and that's for the 80s Reboot Overdrive. Overbite. Did you hear that?
I did.
It's the 80s Reboot Overdrive blog. 80s Reboot blog. And then we have...
Oh, God. You're killing me.
Woo! All right. It's been a long day. I feel like, you ever have one of those days where you work and you work and you work and you feel like you got absolutely nothing done?
Yeah.
Oh, it was so frustrating. So anyway, a couple more people here. We got somebody new to the group is Stuck in the 80s, and that's at Stuck in the 80s on Twitter or at tampabay.com/blogs/80s. And Steven Spears is the guy that heads that up. He's been doing this for a long time, so it's good to have them as contributors to this fun stuff that we're doing nowadays. We also have geekoutpodcast.com, and they are on Twitter at GoLiveverse. That's GOLIVERSE. So I think that's about all of it.
I hope so.
It's a lot to read off, and
it is a lot to read off. David must practice before he.
Dave just rattles through them like it's nothing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
He is a good overlord.
He is.
It's good to have him as a leader.
It is.
So, 80s villains is the topic this week, or this month. I keep saying this week. This month. And so we're going to just kind of go over our top 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any honorable mentions, we'll bring them up. Other than that, it's just going to roll right into it. So what's your first pick, Rose?
Well, I watched this movie a while ago, and I'm familiar with this actor anyway, but it all ties in with music and film and all that jazz, but that's not the name of the movie. It's not Bob. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm really not a big, huge Madonna fan, but I do own one album that she did, True Blue, and one of my favorite songs that I like on there, and every so often I'll cover it in karaoke or whatever, it's Live to Tell, and it's actually from the movie At Close Range.
Great movie, by the way.
Christopher Walken plays probably one of the most scariest villains, I think. And this is like real life villains. We're not talking supernatural or fairy tale or anything like that. This is real person here. He plays this guy who was in prison, and he has children. They're pretty much grown. They're teenagers. And he gets out of prison. And, of course, you know, when you get out of prison, the only reason they let you out is because you promised to, reform yourself and your evil ways. And apparently he had absolutely no intention of actually doing that. But in the synopsis, it says that in 1978, rural Pennsylvania, an absentee father is reacquainted with his strange teenage sons, and they become intrigued with the romanticized life of crime. And Sean Penn is in it. Excellent choice for Brad. It's Brad Whitewood, that's his character, Christopher Walken's character's name. And then Brad Jr. is played by Sean Penn, and then Mary Stuart Masterson plays Sean Penn's girlfriend. And then Chris Penn is in it, and a couple other people. But it was just the ruthlessness of him and who he was in this film. It was just staggering. He was a bully, and he very violent person. And I guess the reason why it scared me so, and truthfully I've only seen it twice, I couldn't get it past, any more times than that. He just really felt like whatever was good enough for him was good enough for his kids. And if this is what you guys want to do, and if I'm talking to you and making myself out to seem like I'm some big shot, and, well, let's just, let's deal with that in reality. Light, and, let's go for it. You want to rob a bank? You think that's exciting? You want to steal from somebody or beat him up, maybe even kill him? Yeah, sure, let's go for it. And his sons never knew if he was serious or kidding, but unfortunately they found out the hard way that a lot of times when he said things, he actually meant it. So I guess if that's I don't know if that's the epitome of a sociopath or psychotic, but he could go either way. There were times when he was normal, and then there were times when he was just, just very out there. You know, it had the rage in him was just, you know, just beyond belief. And he could turn it off and on, you know, like a light switch.
Well, isn't that one of the scariest things that you can come across? Is somebody that can just go from one thing to another so quickly?
Yeah.
You know, they seem completely normal, and then just click, and they're gone. You know.
Yeah. And you never know what sets them off.
Yeah, and it's never. It's not predictable. They're very unpredictable people, characters or whatever you want to do. But there's a lot of them out there like that, and it's really interesting to see them. And you really, it's that you don't know what to expect next, and you love that feeling and you hate that feeling at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think his sons wanted their dad, but they were leery. The younger ones really didn't know what to expect, but I think Brad Jr. kind of had an idea. He always kept him at arm's length as long as he could, but even then, ultimately, you know, he finally got to him too. And then, of course, you know, he asked him to do the unthinkable. So it's just like, I don't think I can do that, you know, even after, you know, telling your dad, yeah, whatever, you know, I'm loyal, I'll do whatever, you know. But, yeah, just to have that position, be put in that position and be put in that position by a parent. I mean, regardless of, you know, whatever their social standing or, you know, whatever aspect of society they came from, it's still, wow, you know, really? You're asking me to do that? I don't know. Yeah. So, but yeah, so. Not that any of them were, you know, cherubs by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, kids knocking around the neighborhood, you know, you've seen them, you know, the big cities have them, and they're just kind of little punks. And, I don't know, little punks grow up to be big punks, I guess. I don't know. But he's, was very convincing in that movie. So thank you, Christopher Walken, for scaring the bejesus out of me.
I mean, come on. Everybody loves Christopher Walken.
I love Christopher Walken.
He's got such a strange mannerism with his delivery, and it can be taken many ways, like either comedic or very just bizarre and serious and creepy.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know, yeah, he's
I think
he's very talented musically too. He can sing, he can dance, he plays piano. I mean, he's just
plays harmonica too, by the way.
Yeah. See, there you go.
And I know that he is an aficionado of the cowbell.
He is. More cowbell.
Loves himself some cowbell.
Yeah, they could use more.
Yeah, you need a little more cowbell. No, I think my biggest memory of Christopher Walken, and I don't know if you'd call him a villain in it, but was in it wasn't in the 80s either, but it was Pulp Fiction. When he was,
okay.
Yeah, did you ever see Pulp Fiction?
I did. Yeah, I saw it once. I watched it out of posterity, just to say I did. So I really wasn't a big fan of Quentin Tarantino at the time.
He had a very strange little role, very minor. You know, he was only in it for like 5 minutes, but it was a strange little monologue that he went through with being POW in a POW camp, and it was very bizarre. But anyway,
he's good at his monologues. He has quite some memorable ones.
And I think that's where his delivery method comes in. That just is so memorable in a lot of those. So
yeah. My first introduction to him was Dead Zone, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what a great movie. Yeah.
Excellent. Because I read the book first, and then when I saw the movie, I went, "Yep, there's Johnny." There he is. Just like, you know, Viggo Mortensen was whoever he was in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Flagged on that. Sorry. Strider. What's his name? Help me out here.
Viggo
That
Mortensen.
guy. Viggo Mortensen, yeah,
He was. Oh my gosh, I've seen this movie a dozen times.
gajillion times.
Like how many hours have I spent watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy? I don't even know.
Probably lots.
Well, considering they were like, if you watch the extended version on the DVD, it's like almost 4 hours for each episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've put a few hours into it.
To do the IMDb. Sorry, folks. I have to do
what
this.
was his character's name? Oh my gosh.
We did this thing the other day with Aragorn,
Aragorn.
but he was
Andy.
also called Strider, so
Okay.
it's he had a dual name.
Right on. So, are you ready? Are you ready for my first pick?
I am. I'm very excited because you did a lot of humming and hawing and the finding and the searching and Layden.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Okay. Now listen to me, my tough little friend. I don't know from what stone you crawled, from under what stone you crawled, or where you get these ridiculous ideas about me, but it seems painfully obvious you haven't the slightest flipping idea who you're dealing with. Now my advice to you is crawl back to your little stone in Detroit before you get squashed.
Ooh.
That would be
I like that.
Victor Maitland
Victor Maitland.
from Beverly Hills Cop.
Exactly.
I just thought he did a great job, and his accent really throws a nice little twist into the whole thing. Wish I could do an accent, but I really can't.
That's okay. He what was that's a character name.
It's I just had it in front of me. Hold on. It's Steven Berkoff.
Yeah. He was in he was actually doing a music thing here. He was in Under the Cherry Moon with Prince. He played the lady that was in there.
He played a lady.
Her name, but she's actually he played her dad, but the female lead in there. I can never remember her name for some reason, even though she's extremely popular.
In Under the Cherry Moon?
Under the Cherry Moon, yes.
I don't know that movie. With Prince?
Prince, yes. He did it in 1986. Kristen Scott Thomas played his love interest, and Steven Berkoff played her dad. And spoiler alert, he was the one that had Prince's character killed, as he did Christopher Tracy. He didn't like him hanging around his daughter because they were getting serious. So yeah, but yeah, he plays a good villain, and he's got those eyes. He's got those eyes like a gypsy. He's got those steely blue eyes.
Blue eyes, yeah. It's the way. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Piercing,
his eyes,
very frightening. Yeah.
Yeah. He can just really pull off the serious look, like you're messing with the wrong person kind of look. It's hard to explain, but I thought he was great as the villain in Beverly Hills Cop. He was very believable and fun to watch as Beverly Hills. Or as Beverly Hills Cop, as Alex Foley. Alex, I swear, what is wrong with me tonight, Rose?
I don't know.
Axel.
Got a lot of blooper.
No doubt.
I got a lot of blooper stuff.
Alex Foley.
Alex
Foley?
I don't know. Why don't we Google him, see if he's somebody?
Alex Foley. He's going to be on 80s Reboot Overbite.
Oh my god. This reminds me of that one time, remember we did the 16 Cannibals?
16 Cannibals, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh
yes,
my goodness.
I remember that slip of the tongue who was that said that? That would be me.
That's you. And I didn't let you forget it for like 6 episodes.
Yeah, you did bring it up.
Just managed to weasel that in there. Now we got new stuff, so it's great.
Great.
I love it.
Yeah, 80s overbite. Dave's gonna love that. 80s reboot
That's
overbite.
Alex Foley. See, I can't even mispronounce his name. I actually said Alex Foley.
Oh boy. All right. Shall we move on to the next villain?
Steven Berkoff. Excellent choice.
Yeah. Victor Maitland.
Victor Maitland.
So
He was a highly acclaimed English actor and playwright.
Yes, English.
Oh, he's still alive too. Awesome.
Yeah, he's got to be getting up there. He's born in 34 or something like that. I think.
He's 79. I just had a peek real quick.
1937.
Okay.
Yeah.
1934. Is that what you said?
1937.
37.
Yeah, he'll be 80 in August.
Good for him.
Happy
Congratulations,
birthday.
you're an octogenarian.
An octogenarian.
Isn't that what an 80s? Isn't it? Octogenarian? I don't know. I'm gonna move on to.
Isn't that what's 100? I thought that was an oct.
Oh.
That would not make
Octogenarian
sense. That'd be
80.
hectogenarian. All right, we're just
base here.
out of control. We are.
Too many things. Okay, so
Who's your next one, Rose? Who's your next one?
It's my next one. Okay, so anybody who's ever watched a movie with Dennis Hopper in it knows that he is just all encompassing as far as villains. And I just watched Speed the other day, which is kind of like, I didn't really want to, but it was on, so it was kind of like one of those things that it kind of halfway through it is at the end, and I'm like, I wonder, I don't remember them getting out of this one. I wonder how that happened. And then it panned to him talking on the phone with Keanu Reeves' character. I was like, oh, I forgot he was in this. So that got me to thinking. So he played quite a few villains in his time, and none more so memorable, did I say that right? Than Frank Booth in Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet. Thank you for bringing that up. When you said Dennis Hopper, I knew exactly where you're going with this, because that's a creepy movie, man.
It is very creepy, and
it's a bizarre movie.
How bizarre! It is very, and his portrayal of Frank. Where do I begin? He's not like the evil that you see in, say, like Bela Lugosi as Dracula or anything like that. He's more of a twisted evil, kind of a almost perverted, because he has all of these strange things that, he finds enjoyment in. And it's just, I believe all of these things that come out of his mind that they, make him who he is, basically is the cause of why he is who he is. I really think that there's definitely some mental illness going on there. And I don't know if it was from all the oxygen or whatever it is he was sucking up through his, just that whole scene, where he has to come in and he's, just, the whole movie, regardless, of what people may say about it.
It's a freaky movie.
And I know people are going, oh my God, you've seen Blue Velvet? Yes, I have. It's just, we're all adults here, but it's just so unusual for that time. To me, I think it was like a groundbreaking type of movie for that era when everybody else was doing fun rom-coms and, action flicks and going back in time on whatever, I'm not like referencing anything, but there was a lot of movies set in different eras and time and in the 80s. And for that to come out and address an issue that no one, I guess, had really brought to the mainstream. I don't think it was a mainstream movie, but there's a lot of weirdness going on out there with people and their personal habits. And this just kind of, it's David Lynch, so it's going to ball it up and throw it at you like a mud pie, you know, like, here, watch this. You're going to think it sucks. But in some ways it does, in some ways it doesn't. But he had like the most interesting people in this movie. And I think Dennis Hopper really like pulled it all together. The only one that I thought was probably the least interesting. I have to pull it up on IMDb. Was it Kyle MacLachlan? Yeah, he was like, to me, one of the most subdued of all the characters, even though he had his weirdness about him too. They all did. But to me, he was just kind of like a middle of the road kind of. He didn't want to commit to it. He knew he was a weirdo, but he just, you know, didn't want to. It was, I don't know. He wasn't committing.
Yeah.
Where Dennis was committed. Frank Booth, yeah, I'm out there. I'm doing this, you know, and I don't give a flip who knows it. You know, as well, you know, as the young lady that was in it. So, but yeah.
Isabella Rossellini.
Bella Rossellini. Yeah, very beautiful young lady.
She's not Italian or anything, right?
I don't think so.
She's Irish.
Dorothy Valance. That's a beautiful name. I always like, yeah, there's Sharon Megara. Yeah, Laura Dern is in it. Hope Lang. Dean Stockwell.
I like
Dean
Laura
Stockwell's
Dern. She's
character.
always plays a good character, Laura Dern.
She does.
She's a very good actress. Underrated, in my opinion.
Very much so. And yeah, and then what I was going to go with Dean is like he would be like second in line.
Oh, Dean Stockwell's great too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just realized who he was. I was drawing a blank on the name, and then I saw his picture. I'm like, that guy's. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's a really good. Would you call him a character actor?
I would.
Okay.
I would.
I'm still unclear on what that exactly means, but.
Yeah, he would qualify as a character actor.
So, looking a little bit further into Blue Velvet and David Lynch, I see that David Lynch was also part of Twin Peaks, and I see a lot. And this is the first thing when you think of Blue Velvet, the first thing I think of is, and not only because of Kyle MacLachlan being a main actor the lead actor in Twin Peaks, it has a very similar feel.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's got it's weird and quirky and creepy.
Like a film noir type of.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you brought this one up. It's nice to talk about some of these little hidden. I think it's called. I would say Blue Velvet's probably a cult classic. Fall into that category for sure.
The film wise, I'm sure it definitely falls into that category. Because, you know, if you get any type of college courses, or because they're doing this now, and when you do film, if you're taking any type of film classes or, you know, cinematography or anything like that. Hold on a second. Sorry.
That's okay. I can edit that.
Thank you.
And that.
And that. Okay.
And what I said.
Yes. And then, because they have certain movies that they have to study, and I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't on the curriculum somewhere.
I would totally believe that.
Yeah. Because it just has all the elements of a fascinating idea, screenplay.
I gotta say, this is something I really would like to revisit if I could find it. I know it's on Amazon for rental, so I might have. This is such an unusual movie.
It is.
Another one that's right around the same period, or same like the year before, I think, with Dennis Hopper is The River's Edge.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another cult classic. And
Yeah.
he plays a creepy dude in that one too, man.
Yeah.
Very
I
strange.
think I saw that.
Oh, really? Oh, you need to
River's
watch
Edge.
that one.
I'm gonna have to kind of.
Yeah, that one's it's right there with Blue Velvet. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
I want to see.
I would probably watch that just on, because a lot of times people say, "Oh, if you've seen this movie, then you've got to watch this one," and it's like a recommendation. So I would watch something on a recommendation, mainly because I am just that person.
Yeah, it's definitely River's Edge is definitely an interesting movie, and it's
1986. It's got Crispin Glover. Wow.
Yeah,
It's got Crispin Glover and Keanu Reeves, Ione Skye. Wow.
Yeah. It's a good movie. I would recommend it. I wouldn't say he's a villain in it, but he's a strange dude in it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like he has his better half or his other half is a blow up doll.
Oh, kind of like Lars and the Real Girl.
Something like that. I don't know what that is, but sure.
Oh, Ryan Gosling. You never saw that? Yeah,
No,
I recommend you watch that.
Okay. So, good pick, Dennis
Thank
Hopper
you.
for villain. Very good. I like this. I like we're going a little out of the norm. So,
Yeah.
my next pick
Mm-hmm.
is going to be somebody that's he really was not. He didn't make a lot of. He didn't get a lot of accolades for his acting. I liked him in a lot of the things he did. I remember him in a lot of the things he did.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a movie that we brought up during the. Actually, you brought this one up. Sylvester Stallone episode that we did for the Icon series.
Yeah.
And that is Brian Thompson as the Night Slasher.
Oh.
He was really creepy in that one, and a really good villain and scary.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
That's like way out of. Yeah. That's not even inner circle stuff. That's like way outside the norm.
Yeah, and he did quite a few things. I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff, and you see him every once in a while. He was in Alien Nation, also the movie. He played one of the aliens that freaked out and drank milk and did the drug, whatever the drug they were doing in Alien Nation, and I don't know, went crazy.
I probably saw that movie once.
Yeah, it was actually good sci-fi. So, anyway, I just thought he was really scary in this one, and he did a really good job of being the villain. Although in that one also, I think, let me look that one up real quick here.
Yeah. Even looks scary.
He does. He's got a very strong jawline and.
Get out of town. He's from Ellensburg, Washington. Wow.
But do you know where that is?
It's in the state, yes. I've driven through there before. On the eastern side of Washington. Before you get to Walla Walla and all that.
Cool.
That's cool.
I have not seen this movie Cobra in a long time, and I really need to get back to it because I remember I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
As one of Sly's more underrated, and I think he was ridiculed quite a bit for this one. I don't know why. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't either.
He had a really sweet car too.
Didn't he though?
That was a cool car. But Brian Thompson in that was, I don't think he had a lot of lines. He did not have a lot of dialogue. But he just had this look, and he just was so convincing of being this scary dude. So that's my second pick for a villain of the 80s. He freaked me out.
I had to Sorry, I had to mute you. I had to go turn my food off. To turn off my oven so my steaks wouldn't burn.
Oh yeah, you don't want to burn your steak.
No. I actually like the second choice. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Brian Thompson, I would have never honestly thought. And as many times as I've seen Cobra, obviously I wasn't fixated on him, so. I love Sylvester Stallone. Anyway, so. Great movie. Yeah, that was a good pick, Scott.
Cool, thanks.
You're welcome.
I can't really talk about too many. What's that?
I was just saying, glad we share an interest in something, a movie like that not a lot of people admit to watching.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lot of people gave Sly a really hard time. I think the critics really beat him up on this one.
And it's okay because it's why? What was the purpose of that?
And I know we are
or Rambo. Is that why?
I don't know. I kind of like. I think like I know we already talked about Sylvester Stallone as an icon of the '80s, and he was. But I kind of feel like either you liked him or you didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, sometimes there are flops as far as movies go. I mean, look at. I wasn't crazy about the one with him and Dolly Parton, but.
No, well, yeah.
But that was odd. That was like a weird thing. I mean, Cobra fit right into his persona, really. I mean, his toughness, his being a badass that he was, like coming from Rambo and Rocky, and Cobra fit right into that line. So I don't know why everybody gave him such a hard time about it. I loved it. So
yeah.
Anyway, that was Brian Thompson. So we are up to your third pick already.
And I have to say this one is probably, I went in the order 3, 2, 1. My favorite. Not my all-time favorite villain, but my all-time favorite villain of the 80s. Because this is another one of those movies that I've seen more times than I needed to. And I don't care. Who knows it? And he played another villain in a very popular movie. But I didn't pick that one. Because I picked the one that I thought gave him a bit more style and panache. Chris Sarandon playing Jerry Dandridge in Fright Night.
Oh, Fright Night.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Left field. Here.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta look this one up.
Yeah, this is
what a great movie.
This is actually a really good movie, and I haven't seen the remake yet, but he's actually in this. He plays JD. I don't know. I don't know what character that is, so anybody out there who's seen the remake of Fright Night, don't even bother telling me, because I don't care. I didn't think anything like that would happen. This is one of those what do you call them when they're underground cult classic type of things. I didn't think it was a mainstream movie, but to me, his character, being, a vampire, he wasn't Dracula or anything, but he was a vampire, Like, what do you do when a vampire moves next door to you?
Oh, yeah.
And the guy was just like, oh my goodness, please. And somebody put a stake through his heart, because he's super annoying. That guy, oh my goodness. But, yeah, so he's very suave, very debonair, has all the finer things in life, and just wants to kind of, chill out and relax and wait to, attack everybody in his neighborhood after dark. But as you do when you're a vampire, and these crazy kids start poking you into your business, and then of course, then you have to release the rage before you need to. But I think that Chris Sarandon is one of those very underestimated actors that I don't really think he got nearly the amount of accolades that he should have. And if I'm not mistaken, he's theater trained too.
I could see him being theater trained.
Yeah, and he's just, he always, the IMDb describes him as worldly looking. Like, he's just been out there and did everything and been everywhere. But, yeah, I liked his character in this movie, like I said, because he's very underestimated as a vampire.
Yeah, vampires typically are, right? Underestimated. That's how they get you.
He does a real good job too.
And he's convincing. Yeah. So
very convincing.
He also was not such a nice guy in The Princess Bride.
Oh no, Prince Humperdinck? No, absolute dude. But
he was a villain.
He's,
he was a villain. Also. Yeah.
He has that persona down. If you notice, he's got that very, oh yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I'm totally with you on this. And by the way, just so you know, I'm going to kill you. So just let that mull over in your mind, and I'll be right back. Kind of a thing, So it's just like you're going to do what?
It's
you seem like such a nice person.
It's a very calm and confident.
Very.
Creepiness, if you want to call it that.
Calm, creepy.
Well, if that's the role that he's trying to play, then he succeeded.
Yes, definitely. I was convinced. I didn't want to live next door to him. But, what you gonna do?
Okay, so at the beginning of the show, I said, or I don't even know, this might have been before the intro, I said we were going to go over the rules.
Yeah.
Right? And I said that there are no rules. Well, some people think there's rules as far as villains go. Like, do you want to keep sci-fi out of it? Like, aliens and robots. I mean, we could go in a shopping mall. Talk with Kelly Maroney again, because that was a blast. Killer robots, and I'm mentioning all this because it's going to bring me to the ultimate really villain. Would have to be the Terminator.
Dun, dun, dun.
In the original, of course, because the other didn't come out until 10 years later, the second one. In the 90s. But the Terminator was the ultimate villain and indestructible, like it seemed. For the whole movie, you believed it was indestructible. And Arnold Schwarzenegger really did a great job of playing a robot.
He did. And it's, I know it seemed like it was a big stretch for him, but I don't know. I've heard people say he's like really super nice and very personable when you meet him. So I think back then that was a good role for him. Yeah. I don't know if he could really pull that off now. It would seem forced now just because he's done it. But I think he made an excellent villain, an excellent cyborg, to be honest with you. Just he was very, very methodical. He was just, he's very straightforward about what he wanted to do. I'm sitting here on a mission. Got to kill Sarah Connor. And I'm done.
Yeah. And
so don't get in my way because I'm going to rip your throat out. I'm going to steal your clothes. And I'm going to take my car and run into your police station. So, yeah.
I know
How short would that movie had been if he would just found her on the street? Like all these people getting in our way. Dude, 15 minutes. I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I've never thought of it that way. That's It's hysterical.
That's a good villain pick. That was good. Like, I like that one.
Yeah, and I think Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, he falls right into that same category as, you know, the competing with Sly on these action adventure movies. And this one, he took it to the sci-fi side of things versus well, he started, I guess, with fantasy, really, with Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, he was Conan the
right?
Barbarian.
But he was good guy in that one. Conan was the good guy. You know, you had James Earl Jones was the bad guy in that one, which would have been a good villain pick, by the way.
It would have been a good villain pick.
Because not only is he, you know, a villain in Conan the Barbarian, but he was also the voice of everybody's favorite villain to this day, that people walk around wearing Darth Vader shirts.
Yeah.
You know, that was you know, and in fact, I think it was one of Dave's picks for bad guys.
Yeah.
Or bullies, or whatever you want to call it, that episode that we did a few months back.
Yeah.
It was a couple months ago now. It went by fast.
Time is
so
moving on.
Anyway, Arnie did a good job as the Terminator, and was freaky, and you just didn't think he was ever going to let up. And
right.
Finally, Linda Hamilton, the heroine, beat him. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
Then he just kept coming back, you know, after.
Yeah, as much as you can elude a cyborg with you know, one-track mind. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
even after they crushed him, you know, he still came back in another episode or another, you know, sequel. But he was a good guy then because he was reprogrammed.
Right.
So. That was one of the qualifiers too. Somebody I was listening to Stuck in the 80s podcast, and they started breaking down their March Madness equivalent of villains and bad guys and bullies, and they were saying, well, they needed to kind of categorize them into different people or different sections, and they said like the sci-fi guys are one, and then the you know, real people are another one, and then bullies are another one versus villains of action stuff.
Right.
And one of the things that they said was, if it's a villain that turns at the end of the movie, then they're kind of disqualified as a villain.
I think so, because true evil never goes to the light.
Like, okay, I'll give you a good example, and it was somebody that came up in you know, one of my first thoughts was Drago from Rocky IV. But at the end, he's like, you know, he is on Rocky's side when Rocky says, you know, if we can get along, everybody can get along.
Yeah.
Hooray! And you know, he had turned at the end, or Darth Vader even in Return of the Jedi when he helps Luke defeat the Emperor, and you know, is he really the true villain that he's supposed to be? So,
well, that's a tough one because that's your kid. You know, it just goes to show you that gene, that parenting gene that's in you, that you know, you have to protect your child at all costs. But yeah, I think that kind of won out over. But he was willing to accept his consequences. Yeah. You know, he was willing to accept his fate. You know,
true.
Via consequences. So, to me, Darth Vader will always be evil, no matter what.
Yeah, nobody goes into a school and wipes out a bunch of young Jedi when they're only like 6 years old. That's not cool. That's villain.
No.
That's hardcore villain. That's way beyond what we can imagine as a villain. That was pretty dark for the Star Wars series to actually go down that road.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah.
So do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. Since we have no rules, I'm going to mention them both at the same time.
No rules.
Faye Dunaway is Joan Crawford in Mommy Dearest.
Oh, excellent.
Only because, who wants her as a mom?
No
and,
wire,
you know,
no
she's
wire
another one of
hangers.
those-
No wire
No
hangers.
wire hangers, please God.
She was.
Yeah.
She was
Take
amazing.
your life over a wire hanger. But she could turn it off and on, which is that's that crazy that you don't want to get involved with.
Now, when
You know,
was
'cause
that
she lulls
released?
you to 1980.
Really? Okay.
81.
81.
She
yeah.
lulls you into a false sense of security.
Oh, she
and
freaked.
then bam.
She freaked me out in
got
that
it.
one. Scary
Yeah.
woman.
Well, that's another one I've only seen once. I refuse to watch it again. Just, you know, if that's who she was, then OMG.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. And then my second one, because there are no rules, comes from a book. Because the actual movie didn't come out until 1990.
Okay.
And that's Annie Wilkes in Misery.
Ooh, I'm your number one fan.
That lady. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a good
Just absolute bat crap crazy.
one. You know,
Just-
I'm really glad that you went into, reached into the book world, because that's something that never even crossed my mind. There are really some great villain and evil characters in some books that I remember from back then.
Right. I wanted to get a woman's perspective. I wanted to do the whole, female, because, it was all guys and women can be. And I didn't want to pick Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction. I'm sorry. I love her in other stuff, but yeah, she was a villain in that, but it's been overdone so many times.
Okay, so I was going to go that route. Because,
well, that's fine if you want to go there.
And I'll tell you why. Because we've been watching a show on Netflix lately. It's called Damages, and it's been done for like 5 years. It was ended in like 2012. It was on for like 4 or 5 seasons.
Right.
And it's a really good show, and she's really, really like this evil lawyer in this Damages. And it always makes me think of her character in Fatal Attraction, how psychopathic she is. So that I thought that was a great, a really good woman as the villain.
Right. Yeah, she makes a good villain, mind you. Because we saw what she can do in the live action version of 101 Dalmatians, but she just, I don't know, she didn't really have me convinced. Annie had me convinced. Yikes. So, very, very, and Kathy Bates in the movie, props, to whoever cast her. She's amazing. I love her as an actress. And for her to just pull that off, I don't know how many times she read the book, if at all, but, it just, here's your character, bio. Study it very well.
Yeah, have you ever seen, there was a YouTube or some kind of video going around. It was a viral video where this woman is in a bookstore and she does like a monologue from Misery.
No.
Oh yeah, it's bizarre, and people don't know what's going on around her. Like she's totally doing this monologue and playing, Kathy Bates' character.
Wow.
Annie,
hey, if you got to get your 15 minutes of fame someplace, why not, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up while we're talking here. Okay. I wanted to mention. Can I have an honorable mention? I'm gonna say. 2, and these, this is tongue in cheek. I'm just joking. They're not really that bad of villains, but Mr. Hand from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh yeah.
He kind of played the villain,
He did.
He was the evil teacher.
Love
Ray Walston, exactly. Remember I said earlier that I was looking up somebody that I couldn't remember his name, and He is passed. Yes.
Yes.
So that was who I
Dennis
was looking
Hopper's
up.
gone too. He
Oh,
died
Dennis-
not too long ago.
Oh, I missed that one. Shoot, I was gonna look something up and I can't think of it now. What was I looking up? Oh,
Lady in the
YouTube,
library
YouTube,
doing
yeah.
the monologue from.
Yeah. Thanks. See, I just lose my mind all the time.
What was your second honorable mention?
My second honorable mention is another kind of joke. John Lithgow
John Lithgow,
in Footloose.
Footloose, the preacher from Footloose.
Yeah, the preacher. The preacher is the villain in this one.
Oh well, it's plausible. I've seen several movies that, What about that one guy from Poltergeist? Was it the second one? That old guy, wasn't he a preacher? They walked up the street and he was quoting the Bible or something about, I don't know, but he was like, whoa.
Wait, which
that's
one was
creepy.
this? What movie?
The Poltergeist.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
the one from the franchise that.
Yeah, I think it was Poltergeist 2.
Yeah, it was definitely Poltergeist.
You're all gonna die. Yeah, I remember that.
Or that guy from what's Phantasm?
Oh
Bill
yeah.
Phantasm. Yeah. See that was like ah! I couldn't remember wanting to see that movie so bad. And then it was just like I'm sitting in the chair in the living room, the kids are sleeping, and I got like the blanket up over my face, so I could peek out. See what's gonna happen next. Oh my goodness.
What was that? Was that your phone? Somebody calling you?
Yeah, my daughter.
Okay. I know you got to get going. I'm gonna send you this link to this woman.
Send me the link. That sounds good.
It's really funny.
Okay. I can't wait to.
I will tell you, she is serious. I mean, like, she sounds really serious. It's awesome.
Serious.
Yeah, sounds very serious. So I'll send you that link. All right? So let's wrap this up real quick. I know we gotta get going here.
Yeah. Sorry.
I gotta read this.
Having
list.
coughing fits and
Are you
kids
okay?
blowing whistles and cats freaking out. Yeah, it's been a fun day. I'm fine. I don't know, just dry.
Okay,
Dry,
so
talk.
I'm gonna read the list of everybody that's involved in this collaboration of the villains of the 80s again, and that's rediscoverthe80s.com, and that's at RD80s on Twitter. Real Ouija Midge on Twitter, and her website is ouijamidget.wordpress.com for the blog, and Killer Kitsch at wordpress.com, and that's killer_kitsch on Twitter, and that's, I'm going to spell that out for you. That's KILLER_KITSCH on Twitter. And then there's returntofthe80s.wordpress.com, and they're at returntofthe80s on Twitter. And then there's southgatemediagroup.com/80s reboot blog, which is written by our own Rose, and that's at 80s Music Girl if you want to find her on Twitter, right?
Absolutely.
And then there's 80s Reboot, of course, on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our new friends, Stuck in the 80s, and that's tampabay.com/blog/80s for their blog. And they're Stuck in the 80s on Twitter, at Stuck in the 80s on Twitter. And then there's geekoutpost.com, and on Twitter they are at GoLiverse, LIVERSE. And I think that about wraps it up. Livers? Livers?
Go livers.
I don't know. I don't know how you say
Sorry, it's just hooked on phonics. What can I say?
it. Hook it on phonics. Work it for me.
OMG.
Okay, so
No.
if you've never heard that, that's Brian Regan, the comedian, does a really funny bit on on Hooked on Phonics.
I'll have to look that up.
That is hysterical. He's a funny comedian. Anyway, so also we should probably mention our own social media stuff. I'm at 80s Auto Reverse or at Scott's Eye on Twitter, and you can find me on Facebook also. Either my name or Scott Competent Photography or 80s Mixtape Auto Reverse, or you can find us through 80s Reboot Overdrive also on Facebook. And then Rose is...
I'm at 80s Music Girl on Twitter, 80s Music Girl on Facebook, and 80s Music Girl on Instagram.
I gotta know, when did you pick up that name, 80s Music Girl? Because I can't imagine it being recent. You've had to have that for a while.
I have.
You must have got like when Twitter first came up, because I can't imagine that.
Twitter first came out.
Yeah.
I've had it since 2009.
Wow.
And it's maybe 2011. I was actually on MySpace in 2009, but it just came to me.
It's great.
It just sounded odd enough to work. And I've seen replicants on Twitter, and I just block them all because they're posers.
Posers.
Except for 80 Girl 216, she's actual factual. So.
Oh, you mean 8675309?
I'm talking about you, honey.
865-75309, right?
836675309. Yeah, Jenny. Not talking about Jenny, because Jenny's like the real deal. But there's a few of them out there that think they can get away with it, but not having it.
So, all right. So that's the show this week, everybody. Hope you enjoy, and
absolutely
hope you come back for more next time. Don't know what we're in for in our upcoming episodes. I think Dave should be back soon, and we'll probably get back into our Icon series.
I think so.
Yes.
I think we have to add some more people. I got to make a bigger list because somebody stole mine last time. So.
Whoa, your list of icons?
Yeah.
Okay, I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 people on my list.
Wow.
So.
Okay.
And one, I think we're going to try to get Skipper in on one.
Oh, that'd be good. He's a lot of fun.
He's a big fan of Steve Martin, so.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I think we might have to have him on as a guest on for Steve Martin.
Fan of Steve Martin, like he's a big fan of Weird Al.
It's not a stretch, right?
No.
They're both very unusual comics. I mean, they're very, very, very unique and very, very good at what they do. So.
Definitely, I like Steve Martin.
Steve Martin's hysterical. He's a great actor, great comedic actor.
Yeah.
So, also a good actor on the serious side too, and a few of his later stuff. So, he's got a very unusual sense of humor from his early stuff, though.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Very, very bizarre.
I mean, dead men
Which is
don't
good, though.
Dead men don't wear plaid.
Don't wear plaid.
Oh yeah. Very
That's
bizarre.
One of my favorites.
Oh really? One of your favorites? Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to talk about this with Steve Martin.
Cool.
With you.
Me too.
So, anyway, all right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your day. And
Thanks.
I think I'm going to
Did we say goodbye to the people yet?
To who? To everybody?
The people.
Goodbye.
We didn't say goodbye to everybody.
I think we said goodbye.
We're saying goodbye to each other, but we're leaving everybody up.
We're saying goodbye to everybody.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to say goodbye to everybody? Goodbye, everybody.
Well, I think it would be appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a wonderful
that's right. You should
whatever.
You need to do your thing.
What? Listen?
You need
to listen to our podcast?
Take care of our reviews.
Oh, yeah. So, which is all over the place today. This is going to be such a fun podcast to listen to.
You know, I apologize. I'm a scatterbrain. I swear.
You can't. We're between you and me and the coughing and the cats and the whistles, and it's just, yeah, it's mayhem. Absolute mayhem.
Yes.
But it's okay. It makes
It's,
for good
you know,
listening.
really, it's chaotic bliss.
It's chaotic bliss.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds like a good name for an 80s band. Anyway,
And
so,
You know, I often say I'm simple. You know,
yeah.
I'm a simpleton.
Simple.
Oh, never mind. I was going somewhere with this, but I can't remember what I was
yeah,
going to
you
say.
just got derailed. Like a Amtrak. Anyway,
I'm a complicated
Oh.
simpleton.
Complicated simpleton. Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
That's okay.
All right, everybody. Well, that was fun.
It was. Thanks everybody for
Uh.
listening. Please keep the cards and letters coming. And if you want to write us a card or a letter, go for it. Good luck with that because we don't have a snail mail Addy. But you have like Gmail for Southgate Media Group, and we all have email. So send us a letter, give us reviews. We love you. We appreciate you listening.
Oh, yes.
Have a wonderful whatever.
All right. Take care now.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed this show. This podcast is part of the 80s Reboot Overdrive channel on Southgate Media Group. You can follow us on Facebook on the 80s Reboot group page. We're also on Twitter and Tumblr at 80s Reboot. We invite you to check out all the wonderful podcasts and blogs available at southgatemediagroup.com. And thank you for reliving the 80s.